Good morning, you guys. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. A lot going on this morning. We have a stack of PSA 9 slabs. Right now, I'm seeing a trend. All of my PSA 9 slabs are just going. So it just goes to show grading definitely pays off in the long term. As much as I also think that there's some issues with grading right now, I think PSA has so much going on that there might be a bit of quality control with grading right now. I'm sure a lot of people are experiencing issues with their grading experience, as am I on some slabs, but also with some big cards that I bought recently. We're going to talk about that a little more today. But yeah, I think it's crazy that these PSA 9 modern cards are selling like hotcakes. And it's just, I don't know. It's signaling that there's a major bubble, in my opinion, because usually modern PSA 9s sit, right? It's always people just want to get rid of them so that they could get their cost back. That's usually what that's about, right? I think I'm one of the few that probably is making money off of PSA 9 graded cards. Either that or I'm picking really popular Pokemon to grade. One of the ones I shipped out today was a Paradox Rift Groudon in a 9 that sold for $160. Now, that being said, that's a very popular card. That's a very popular Pokemon. Also in a PSA 10, they're going for a lot more than PSA 9. So I kind of understand that value proposition of buying PSA 9s. I've always said there's nothing wrong with buying PSA 9s for your personal collection. I know a lot of people feel like, oh, it's PSA 10 or bust for modern, but I don't necessarily subscribe to that idea. And there are some PSA 9s that I have in slabs that I'm not going to list on eBay because I like the cards and know they didn't get 10s. Maybe I'll get 10s on them in the future and then I'll sell my 9s. But until that time comes, 9s are perfectly good to keep in the collection. Remember, the card is still mint. It's being graded very subjectively, right? It can have a perfectly clean back, but it's off center on the front and boom, it's a 9. But in the old days, a PSA 9 could pass for a PSA 10, right? If it was a little off center on the front, but it had a perfectly flawless back, it was likely getting a PSA 10. So, and that's something to think about, that they're being harsher with grading today. So PSA 9s of today are very, very strong copies still. So I guess I shouldn't be too surprised they're selling. But yeah, it seems like it's a new thing, this influx of buyers that I'm getting. And again, this goes back to why I don't consign my cards, why I don't just let them go. I grade what I can grade. I keep most of the 10s. And then I put the 9s up for sale. And I raise the price as the market of the 9s goes up. And eventually, if I forget to raise the price, those 9s are going to sell, right? Eventually, every single card that I grade sells. I sold a PSA 6 today, which the guy, I'm pretty sure he bought it because he asked me to sign it and write something funny for him. And I just want to let you guys know, if you ever buy anything from me off of eBay, I'm like slightly artistic, and I enjoy doodling. I enjoy doodling on the cards, not on the actual slab. Now, he wanted me to doodle on the actual slab. It was a PSA 6 Chen Pao Hyper Rare, so there's nothing to worry about. But if you guys ever want me to just draw a little doodle on a top loader, you know, not directly on the card, or on a team bag, I would happily do that for you guys. I find it so much fun to do little doodles of Pokemon and add that and have it be a part of the experience and sign my name on it, right? It's extremely humbling when people ask me to sign cards. Austin, I did some doodles for you as well because you deserve it, homie, on those EX Deoxys reverses. But yeah, guys, we got these cards to ship out, and then we're going to go over an absolutely mental card. I almost said the Pokemon, but we'll show that next. And that's going to be the video for today. We're just going to go over this card and you know, why I love it so much. And I hate that I put it off for so long, but it's finally here. It's finally in our collection. And we're also going to be going over a card that I am getting rid of, and some other news that I'll talk about before we segment this into the game room is I just had someone reach out about me buying their entire collection for 85%. Now, I'm no vendor, but gosh dang, someone offering me 85% to buy their collection, that's a that's very tempting, right? Now, I said I can't right now, even though I probably could still make it work. But the reality is, I would rather spend my hard-earned money, and stuff that I'm selling. I would rather spend the proceeds on Grail cards. And we have that rent money from the renter that we got in the other house, our old house. That rent money is coming in on the 23rd. So I'm very excited. I'm finally going to have cash flow coming in from rental property. That's the dream, right? Sustainable passive income that doesn't involve me flipping and selling, or really just doing any legwork at all. All I'm going to be doing is they're going to live in my old house and I'll get the rent money. So I'm hoping it doesn't get more complicated than that. Should be fine. But yeah, had some interesting updates. And, I told the guy with the collection that he wanted me to buy out. So many nice cards, guys. There was a whole binder page of just Gengar cards. Chef's kiss. So many good cards. And, who knows? Maybe the future of the channel, there will be more subscribers that want me to sell their stuff. I don't get low fees, right? I don't get fees like Z&G or Probstein or DC Sports. I don't get those low fees on eBay, right? I may not get them for a while. What I do get is some of the highest sold listings on some of the cards that I sell. I have a great track record of selling stuff for absolute premiums, especially in markets like this when things are very bubbly, very inflated. People should be cautious right now, but the buying spree just continues from what I'm seeing as a seller. And I just want to say, if you ever want to consign with me, if you ever want to just drop some stuff off with me and let me sell, I can tell you right now, some of my auctions and some of my buy it now listings get the highest amount that cards have gotten recently. And there are several examples I have of bigger cards, but we're not going to go into that. I'm just saying, if that's something you want to do, that would seriously help me out, and I would be absolutely honored to sell anything for anybody. I've only done a couple consignments for subscribers on this channel, but this was cool, and I'm just sharing it because it was just a cool thing to wake up to, this message with all these really nice, near mint cards, and there's a bunch of PSA 10 slabs. And I just told the guy, man, I've got a couple grand in cash from my cash tips from the bar, but I'm mainly using that to buy stuff from the shop. And I pretty much get my cards from the shop at 90%. So for me, 85% even just, I don't know, it's not exactly worth the stress. And if something goes wrong, right, if they ship it out, if the shipping carrier messes something up, I don't really want the stress of doing consignments. I don't know. Consignments seems like a stressful game to get into, but I just wanted to share that I thought that was really cool. And if you're watching this, thank you for thinking of me first as someone to basically buy out your collection. But they said they'll think about consignments, and they've got some really good stuff in there. There's a first edition Sabrina's Gengar non-holo, and I really love that artwork. That is honestly, that artwork, if it was a holo, it would have been absolutely insane. That is one of the best English cards that's a non-holo of Gengar. So I'm considering just buying that one straight up for 85%. And that's the thing. Maybe if I just bought 2 or 3 slabs at 85%, that's kind of a no-brainer. Kind of can't lose there. The only thing is when you're buying, ultra modern slabs and things, in PSA 10, even at 85%, this market can shift at any moment. And I feel better allocating all of my funds into vintage than modern. That's just how I feel. But I would happily consign anything that's modern because it's, you can't lose. If you're consigning, there's no risk. If you're buying and you're putting your money into it, there's a good bit of risk there. And right now, like I said, I'm just focusing all of my energy and all of my funds that are available. I'm funneling all of that into vintage. So we have a huge card that we're going to be going over here shortly. So I'm going to hit the post office. I'll catch you guys when I get back. And I also want to add another thing. Sorry, one more thing. Word on the street is that Pokemon Center has figured out a way to cancel pre-orders from bots. Now, I don't know if this is a rumor. I don't know if this is 100% the truth, but supposedly Pokemon Center has a system now for catching bots. And so maybe there will be a big restock of products, Mega Evolutions. We might see this with Phantasmal Flames at some point. I don't know if the UPC dropped yesterday or if it's going to drop today. Everyone's like, yo, you got to check Pokemon Center. You got to sit in the queue for 4 hours. Let's do it. But for those of you out there that are really adamant about getting the new releases and getting the new products, as much as I would like to, I've got way too much stuff going on to sit all day on my screen and wait in the queue. But if you can do that, right? If you have remote work, if you have a chance to be on your screen and have it sitting there waiting in the queue, I would highly recommend probably being on Pokemon Center and waiting, because there's a good chance that Mega Evolutions or Phantasmal stuff might drop again. There might be some kind of restock. It kind of just sounds like rumor to me. I never take this stuff for full face value, like it's actual news, but it's just something I saw. Someone posted it in the Discord. That's what our Discord is for. It's for updates and news and rumors and things, and for me to kind of stay on top of the hobby. Even when I'm out and about doing stuff with my family, I can read the Discord and say, oh, that's an interesting thing. So Mega Evolutions has been all the rage, all the talk, as is Phantasmal Flame. So it would be awesome if bots really did get their pre-orders canceled, and it would give everybody out there a stab at picking this stuff up again. Anyways, good luck to you guys. Stay tuned. We have a banger card we're about to go over. Peace. Guys, what's going on? I hope you guys are doing fantastic today. I know we had a little rant about some buying trends right now, but I also more seriously wanted to talk about something before we get into this absolute monster. The state of the market right now in Pokemon is at a very manic, inflated, pumped, artificial, manipulated place. It doesn't really make sense. We've got stuff like Ponchos, Van Gogh Pikachus, the McDonald's Pikachu, the Burger Chew. Prices are absolutely astronomical right now. Now is the peak time to take your liquidity. It really is. Now is the peak time to be selling. And as others that have been the voice of reason to me, guys that have been in this hobby way longer than me, and pretty much all of them saying the same thing, I think it's kind of telling me some things ahead of the curve, right? I think these guys know a lot more than I do, and they've been around a lot longer than I have, and I really take what they say seriously. And I as much as I am still buying expensive vintage cards, I am actually going to be slowing down on that. I'm going to see what happens with the market, and if I miss out and cards continue to rise, it'll be what it is. But right now, I cannot continue buying at the pace that I've been buying. I am personally running out of steam, and I am a person with a six-figure job. I run an eBay store that does pretty much 6 figures a year in sales, and probably one day 7. I also do YouTube. I have ad revenue from that. I have a decent amount of income, and now I have a rental property that is producing income. So I'm somebody that is not struggling by any means, but even I am saying, yeah, this might be time to slow down. The people that are still pushing this agenda, most of the people, right? I still think that vintage can continue to rise. I don't know if it will continue to rise as rapidly as it has been. But I think that that's inevitable because these cards are so rare. That being said, what I don't appreciate and what I don't like is vendors and resellers basically raping the market, right? That's what's happening. Mark my words. I made a post about it on my Instagram. This will be soon the end of vintage Grail cards, right? They are getting so pumped, so manipulated, so shilled, so overbought at ridiculous prices. that I really think we need a correction at this point to save this market and allow people to actually continue collecting. Because right now the market is controlled, in my opinion, by big players, right? Whales, the whales of the hobby, the millionaire collectors, right? And I can't exactly fault them because they're not reselling, they're collecting. So that is their prerogative and they can afford to do so. But what is hurting the market are vendors and resellers pumping this stuff up, making it way more expensive than it has any reason to be. And I think that, there are some red flags right now, particularly with modern, right? I told you guys I'm selling a bunch of PSA 9s right now. That's not a great indicator, right? That tells me that things are getting a little out of control because PSA 9 modern, let me tell you something, guys. PSA 9 modern has never sold quickly for me. It has always sold. I've never had any issues getting my PSA 9 cards sold. But everybody knows that it's really only the value of the raw card. We are actually seeing PSA 9 cards go for more than the value of the raw cards, which grading is more expensive, so that may be warranted because of the grading costs going up. I'm not discounting that. But I just think we're in a unique situation right now where we as a hobby have to kind of collaborate and be like, what are we doing here? And, I may even be upsetting some people because as a collector, I'm still collecting and buying these high-end Grail cards. But that is mostly because no matter what environment we're in, I am not willing to miss out. So that's one of my biggest flaws is that I don't care what market we're in. I still want to own these cards for my personal collection. And that's on me, and I've got my own demons to battle on that. Bro, Pokemon's not that deep. Yes, it is. For us serious collectors, yes, it is. I think right now one card that's extremely frustrating for me is the Gold Star Umbreon PSA 9. I turned down 6.3. That was stupid of me. Then it was 10, and I said, this is ridiculous. Should have bought there. That was stupid of me. Then it was 15. I said, this is insane. Maybe should have bought there. Now it's $17,000, $20,000. People are asking $30,000. It shows. I made a Collecticon video a month or two back. They were asking $26,000 for the non-holo Gold Star Umbreon from 2007 Pop Series. Absolutely ridiculous. But that's just one card that frustrates me. Everything in vintage is frustrating me right now because they are so damn expensive. And while I still believe in the cards long term, something's got to give, right? Something has got to give. Now, that's my frustration with vintage. This is a PSA though. This is a public service announcement for the state of the hobby for modern cards. People in the stream last night were asking me about what I think about, the gray felt hat Pikachu and ponchos and the Burger Chew and just how expensive all these cards are getting lately. The Chinese exclusives that have exploded in value, right? Modern SIRs, which I admit, we talked about, yes, I'm still in my PJs. We talked about this Salamence EX and how I want this card to go to the moon. Do I think that you should still buy this, though, for the prices that I think it's going to go to? Honestly, no. I think this card is probably a $200 or $300 PSA 10. Journey Together was a small set. Nobody cared about Salamence at that time. Everyone told I was crazy. Everyone told me I was crazy for going in heavily on this card. I have 18 of these in PSA 10. They're not rare. This is me being a real one and telling you, I think this card is magnificent. I think it's beautiful. It's an awesome modern card. I graded a ton of them. I believe in them. Long term. Short term, the fact that this is already running up crazy in price. I set my listing higher. The market seems to follow it. Right now, people are asking $400 to $500 for this card. And I no longer look crazy for wanting that. But do I think you guys should buy at that price? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. People may still continue to buy at that price, but I think we're going to have a major correction happening soon. I really do. And my friends are right. I should be selling all of my modern stuff that I don't need. All my duplicates, all my PSA 9s. while I probably should send it all for consignment, I like selling on my own. I like having control of the situation and selling on my own. But I wanted to tell you guys, beyond, me wanting top market value for some of my modern slabs and singles that I have for sale, I think people are being crazy right now. I think people are being erratic and just unreasonable and irrational. And I may be being a little bit unreasonable and irrational too. We're going to talk about how that applies to this card. I'm almost getting over this sickness. And how it applies to this card that also came in. But we'll save that for later, because I already complained about it plenty last night. Anyways, I just wanted to put that out there, guys. This is not me trolling Modern. This isn't me saying the hobby's going to crash. Don't spend any money in the hobby. Sell everything now. I just think I'm trying to put something out there that's a voice of reason right now in this craziness. And I think a lot of people are going to be selling soon. This is what happens. We have this huge boom, right? We have this huge market boom, and then everything collapses. And when it collapses and the house of cards comes tumbling down, man, people lose big. People lose big. Now, let's not be too pessimistic. This franchise is stronger than ever, and it may continue on a tear. It wouldn't surprise me. It honestly wouldn't surprise me. But I'm just getting angered by the prices that I'm seeing for the cards that I'm going after. And it's not just vintage. It's modern too. Everything is getting way too expensive, way out of hand. And you couple that with just the fact that they're still scalping, the fact that there's still scarcity in stores. It's getting crazy. Like, my card shops don't even have that much, right? They're getting cleaned out by everybody. People aren't thinking, they're just buying. And I think the Wall Street Journal article did not help recently. I think that just added more gasoline to the fire. And as much as I might get hate for this portion of the video, I think it is my duty to tell you guys to be careful out here and be cautious. And I will try and do the same. As much as I love vintage cards and I'm addicted to buying these types of cards, I am going to try and slow down a little bit. Yeah. Okay. So today we have something very, very special. I know we've taken so long, but yeah, hit the drums. This is a big one. We have the one, the only Gym Challenge Blaine's Charizard and first edition PSA 10. This thing is absolutely a stunning beauty. And by no means is it really a rare low pop vintage card. There are over 400 of this stunning Blaine's Charizard, so you can get one too. Unfortunately, the market has shot up on this card. It has gone from being a $3,000 to $4,000 card in a PSA 10, which is rightfully so in my opinion. There are 400 plus copies, to now being a $7,000, $8,000, $9,000 card and PSA 10. There was a recent auction for an old cert for $7,200. I paid $7,000 for this 7 cert. This card is flawless. I cannot wait to take this outside in the sunlight. It is going to look so good near the end of this video. But let's go ahead and talk a little bit about this card right now, the stats. So there's about 420-ish of them. By no means is it low pop, right? But I do consider it one of the best Charizards in the game. I still have one of these in my binder, an unlimited Blaine's Charizard copy. And if I ever find raw copies of the unlimited ones in the shops, I will always buy it. It's always going to be a buy to me. I've been talking a lot about Gym Heroes and Gym Challenge and just how kind of underrated those cards are. Undervalued, maybe not. Some of them are honestly very rare. There's less than 100 of a lot of them. And, they're still going for $2 or $3 grand. If comparatively, relative to the modern market, I mean, the burger McDonald's Pikachu, the Japanese McDonald's Pikachu, $450 in a PSA 10, $500 in a PSA 10. You're telling me a Happy Meal piece of cardboard is actually rivaling vintage Grail cards in price. Right now, I know 500 compared to 2K or 3K is no comparison, but very recently, some of these gym cards, right, they've been manipulated too. There's some price manipulation there too. Artificial increases that don't really make sense to me. For example, a lot of the Gym Heroes cards were really half the price of what they are now just a month or two ago. So people are definitely catching on to the gym sets. I probably got in on this Blaine Zard a little bit late. This card, just a couple weeks ago, was going for $5,000. It really was not long ago that it was much cheaper than what it is now. To me, this is another card that is being shill bid and being pumped up, and I think, I had to pay the price. I had to suffer and pay the price. $7,000. This was put up by Z&G, by James over at Z&G Emporium. I think he's actually doing kind of a service for us, at least with his buy it now listings. At least it's a set price. You can offer for it or there's no offer for it, but at least it's a set price that's like a decent market value. I was happy to pay $7,000 for this copy. It's an extremely clean copy. Oh, wait. No, this wasn't from Z&G. This was from Victor. Shout out to Victor for this amazing Blaine's Charizard. Oh, I almost messed that up completely. But sometimes James at Z&G does have pretty good price stuff. But we saw an old cert last night, a very old cert last night, going for $7,200, I believe. And then we had someone bought a modern cert copy for $8,000. The modern certs are typically always going for more than the older cert copies. It's just how it goes sometimes. But yeah, I'm really, really floored with this copy. Very happy with it. It's very clean. It does not have one single white dot, and we can check it out when we go outside. But you guys can see here, it does not have one single white dot. Very, very crisp, very clean, nice hollow. No swirls or anything like that. I think one gripe that I have with the Blaine's Charizard is the fact that there's not as much hollow as there could be. But the fact that he is one of the only Charizards depicted blowing out a flame like that makes him pretty goddamn iconic. Anyways, we're going to talk about that one outside. I want to talk about this modern cert Neo Genesis Lugia that I just picked up that is damn near perfect, but it has one quirky flaw that no one seems to be talking about. And now I'm thinking it's isolated to PSA damaging the cards because everyone messaging me theirs does not have the same flaw that this one has. Now, you guys can see the hollow is absolutely stunning. There's a wing swirl over here behind the wing. And on top of that, look at the back. The back is absolutely flawless. This card is listed on my eBay right now for slightly more than what I sold the last one for. I am not proud of that, but I also have to recoup my costs on this card, and you guys know eBay fees are really high. And no, I am not sending it for consignment. I'm selling it myself because I want to be in control. Also, that being said, it's a really, really clean copy. I think most people are going to see the flaw that I'm talking about and not think anything of it. But for me, it is a deal breaker. One thing that I can't stand about cards is if they have any slight indentation or a tiny dent or crease. Like even if it's not a through and through crease, I have gotten rid of so many vintage cards because they had print lines, roller lines, actual creased cards. I've brought this one up a lot. My Celebi Gold Star and a PSA 9. I'm getting another one, and I'm hoping it will be clean because in this market it's crazy to buy the cards at the prices we're buying them at. But I am a true collector, and at the end of the day, I try not to let money dictate my decisions. I try and just go after the cards that I really, really want. And I understand that people may operate the same way with Modern. They just don't care. So each to his own. But I do want to issue some caution for Modern because it is modern. It is abundant. There will be plenty of it out there where stuff like this is ceasing to exist. And on top of that, it's being manipulated, artificially inflated. It's getting very expensive. And I know that it's organically growing too, but it's growing too fast. These prices are getting too high. I don't know if you guys are going to see this, but there's a tiny little indention right here. Teeny tiny indention. I want to be totally upfront. You guys see that right there? Do you see that tiny little indention right there? there is a teeny tiny little indentation right there, and I'm pretty sure you guys should be able to see it. Swear to God, I'm not crazy. There it is. There it is right there. My finger is pointed right at it, that horizontal indentation. You guys should see that very, very clear. I think I actually caught that on camera perfectly so that people can't tell me that I'm mental and going insane over a very, very tiny, insignificant imperfection. Why does this matter to me? Because this is an absolute grail card. This has been a goal of mine for a while now, and this is the second one I've picked up. Both copies have had that teeny tiny little indent mark. Now, some of you, if you have expertise in first edition Lugia, if you can tell me, I love learning about this hobby. I want to absorb as much information as I can about these older cards. I know Neo Genesis has bad quality control. I know that these cards are riddled with print line issues. This one does not have any print line issues though, which is also sketchy because there's a lot of altering and polishing these days. So, but anyways, this copy doesn't have a print line. The back of it is completely, looks like it's perfect. This card literally looked like it had a shot at a PSA 10. So some of you might say, well, Ryan, if the hollow's clean, if the back is clean, then why do you care about an indent? It's a PSA 9 still. Here's the catch, guys. The last copy that I had the exact same indent in the exact same position. One of two things this could mean. Either, and if you're looking for this card, I would definitely listen up. Either PSA with these new certs, right? They were both modern certs, right? They were both recently graded. Either PSA has damaged it in the exact same spot. Their process of how they, put away these high-end cards, maybe it got dinged. But what are the chances it got dinged in the exact same area? So it makes me think it's not how they're processing the cards. It has to do either with encapsulation or it's a quality control. It's a print quality issue with Neo Genesis, and no one seems to be talking about it. I don't know if I'm just the only one that's really like eyeballing these cards so close up to notice these spots, but it's very faint. It looks like it's a very tiny, minute part of what would be a roller line. I've seen this on first edition base set cards, but I've never seen anything like this on other WOTC era cards. Now, I looked over a lot of my other modern cert cards that have the same grading grouping, the 120 cert. None of them have that little indent right there. So could be the card. I don't know. I just think it's really weird that I've gotten 2 copies in a row that had this. Both extremely clean. But anyways, it's a bummer, guys. I was really excited about talking about this Neo Genesis Lugia. I know some people might be saying, dude, why are you whining? The card is clean. Just be happy with it. And I definitely want you guys to keep it real with me. If I'm being overly harsh on these cards, let me know. But I honestly, I would rather have one with some surface scratches or a print line or a white dot corner or off center. I would rather have that than have an indentation. The indentations just really, really bother me, but maybe it's time to just give up the hunt on this. Should I go for a third copy and see if it's any different? I've been told by my other friends that their copies do not have that indentation. So I think for me, I'm going to wait and see if someone lists an older cert copy, or if you have an older cert copy that you'd want to sell to me, I would be open to that. But yeah, this guy is currently listed for sale. I hate the fact that I am having to sell a second one in a row. Chasing the same card, trying to find the perfect copy just seems like insanity, but that's what would make me happy. Now, let's go ahead, jump outside. Let me know what you think of that weird flaw, the fact that I got 2 in a row with the exact same indent marks right there. Very weird. Let's go ahead, take this guy outside and look at its magnificent hollow pattern. Here we have it, guys. The Blaine's Charizard. The first edition PSA 10 Blaine's Charizard. Man, I'm a Charizard fanboy. I might be basic, but I finally have almost all of my favorite Charizard cards. We've got the first edition base set Charizard, PSA 9. We've got the Shining Charizard, PSA 10, first edition. We've got the Skyridge Secret Rare Crystal Charizard, PSA 10. We've got the Gold Star Charizard in a PSA 9. Absolute banger Charizard cards. And now we've got the Blaine's Charizard, first edition, PSA 10. Unbelievable to be adding this card to the lineup. Absolutely unbelievable. Stunning artwork. I love how Blaine is in the bottom. So it's Blaine's Charizard, right? But he's not in the background. It doesn't take up any part or space out of the card, right? A gripe that I did say before is that the holo, there isn't as much holo on this card. But like overall, the art is top tier. The art is top tier on this card. He's literally blowing out flames, right? I don't think we have any other Charizard quite like that. The Gold Star Charizard kind of has a little flame blown out, but come on. This one is it just hits different. There's also the Stormfront Charizard, and you could say, Ryan, what about base set Charizard? He's blowing out flames there. You guys know what I mean. These are more realistic looking flames, and it just looks so sick. I've always loved Blaine's Charizard. I always thought it was sick. I kept putting it off. It was one of the cheaper Charizards. And of course, it feels like I'm just FOMOing into everything because, of course, the price starts popping off. And then I buy it. Then I show peak interest, right? It's very fitting of me. But I've always been watching this card. Same thing with the Sabrina's Gengar, although that card is so unreasonably priced right now. I'm having a hard time trying to justify it. So I have that one in a 9. But yeah, we have all of our absolute favorite Charizard cards. And it's awesome. It's absolutely awesome. It's surreal. I've wanted this guy for so long. And cards like this are why I cannot afford to buy people's collections. It's an opportunity cost, right? You're going to lose that opportunity. But in the grand scheme, to have a perfect condition card in the highest rarity that I've wanted for such a long time, yeah, it outweighs any kind of money that I could make. Absolutely outweighs it. And because the pop is so high on this card, I think a lot of people are going to have a chance to pick this Charizard up. If you're wanting a first edition PSA 10 Charizard, this isn't a pump. This is just the truth here. All right? This card might not be worth 7 or 8 grand, right? That's what I paid. That's what a friend of mine recently paid. He paid 8 grand. Might realistically be worth more like 5 grand or 6 grand or 5,500. I feel like that's closer to true value. Because there are 420 of these, right? By no means is this card really that rare. But Gym Challenge is a sick set. And I want a lot of these holos, but I wanted to cross out the bangers first. Charizard honestly still means more to me than Gengar. As much as I love Gengar, I wanted to get the Sabrina's Gengar in a 10. Really wanted that one in a 10, but we just couldn't make it happen. So instead, I said, you know what? I'll get the Sabrina's Gengar. We'll trade for that in a 9, and we'll get this 10. Anyways, the holo is pretty good on this guy. Charizard takes up most of the card, which is good. The hand-drawn aspect of it is absolutely incredible. And if we take a look at the back, this is a true 10, y'all. This is a true 10. You see that corner? See that corner? We're not just buying 10s. We're buying the card. See that corner? There's no whitening on that whatsoever. Super clean card. Very, very proud of it. I've looked it over for indents and anything of that nature in the harsh lighting. And, of course, the holo is scratch-free, which is very important if you're going to be buying a PSA 10 card. The front is slightly off-center, but again, that's not really my main concern with cards. And it just goes to show with the 7 cert, you know, older cert cards, they didn't grade quite as harsh, but I still think that this card deserved a PSA 10. And I'm very, very thankful that there's no like nicks or dings on the top of the card. It's really, this is what, in my opinion, a true 10 is and looks like. And I feel super blessed to have this card right now in my collection. And you know what? This is such a big pickup for me. This is definitely nicer than probably a lot of the other cards that are going to come in. This card probably means more to me than most of the other cards that can come in. I may end up just selling some of the other cards coming in. Just because I've been on a buying spree lately that I'm not proud of. And just because you can do it doesn't necessarily mean you should. And while I put a lot of cards on my credit card and pay it off, you know, I understand that might look bad to some people, but you know, sometimes you just don't have the liquidity. You know, sometimes you have to leverage a little bit of debt. And, you know, I don't want my message to viewers to be leverage all the debt you can, get the Charizard, pay market premiums. Well, like, if you really want the card, you really want the card, and it is what it is. I have a hard time feeling like people feel that way about Modern. Like, I have a hard time people feel like, oh, I have to get this because I'm never going to get it again. Modern is everywhere. This stuff is not. If you ever want to pick up cards like this, you know, with this classic Ken Sugimori artwork, you know, Arita, Sugimori, Komiya, some of the all-time greats, Fukuda. Man, so clean. Absolutely clean. What a banger of a card. Also, you don't have to get this in first edition. You can pick this card up in the Unlimited without the first edition stamp. It's pretty much the same card. Like, you can go about it differently. You don't have to spend thousands of dollars on Grail cards. You can pick them up in the Unlimited. And honestly, some of the Unlimited copies are literally lower pop than the first edition copies. They're like low-key rarer than first edition. I don't know about Blaine's Charizard per se. I don't know if Blaine's Charizard is actually lower or higher pop than the Unlimited Blaine's Charizard, but there's a lot of Unlimited Holos that are actually rarer and lower pop than their first edition counterpart. And it's kind of like that with Japanese too. The Unlimited Japanese cards compared to the first ed prints of some of the Japanese cards. But I also want to say, I really like the 7 certs. I really like the 7 certs. I think 7 cert is like my favorite area of a card to buy. Trying not to give my sauce out, but like the 7 cert's probably my favorite. But I've had great luck with the 2 certs and the late 2 certs that are almost 3 certs. You know, I feel like I never see 3 certs. That's kind of weird. 4 certs, I feel pretty good about 4 certs. 5 certs, I feel pretty good about. 6 certs, I have terrible luck with, but that's just me. Love 7 certs. I love 8 certs. 9 certs are okay. 9 certs are okay. I know it sounds ridiculous talking about different certs, but, like, that shit does matter. And, like, dude, it's crazy, the premium. If this was 122 cert, someone probably would have paid, like, $8,500 to $9K on this. But because it's a 7 cert, no one touched it for $7K. I was the only person willing to buy this for $7K, I guess. And I'm super happy with it. And I grilled the guy about it, too. I was like, this thing better be clean, bro. $7K, this thing better be clean. He's like, I don't know. It looks like a pretty clean PSA 10 to me. Bruh, this is a very clean PSA 10. Yo, shout out to Victor, bro. This thing is freaking clean, bro. So happy with it. Thank you so much for this card. I got a little scuff thing right there on it. My God, dude. So happy with this right now. Honestly, Blaine's Charizard is probably one of my favorite Charizard cards, too. He's just so freaking sick, bro. He's so freaking sick with the flames. Ah, man. Good times, good times. All right. Peace out, guys. That's all I got for you today.